Welcome to our craft project for today. We're going to be making coasters from branch segments that kind of look like this. You can personalize them and make them look however you like with decorations. In this project, I'll be taking you through all the steps, but I'm not going to show you how to cut the pieces because someone did that for me. I got some help for that part. We used a branch that was off of an apricot tree. And so we're using hardwood for this project today, but you could use a branch from any kind of tree. If you don't have that kind of help getting something cut from a branch, you can stop by your craft store. Sometimes they have little pieces of wood that you can use. But we liked the natural look of these branches. We kept the edge of the bark around there, that live edge, to just add that special natural touch to them. So I'm going to show you first how to sand them, and then how to decorate them, and then how to seal them so that they can be coasters that protect your furniture and they don't wear out. So first, let's talk about how to sand the wood so that it's ready to take your image. You want to start with kind of a rough grit to start. This is 100 grit sandpaper, and you just want to take off the flat surface. You want to sand that. And then you want to go around the edge as well to get a little bit of a bevel on there so that you can kind of pick off the loose pieces and make sure that this is all going to be intact when you're done sanding. Now that we're ready to glue, you do want to be sure that your wood piece is as clean as you can get it. You don't want it to be wet, but I just kind of bang all that sawdust off and the grit from the sandpaper off because you're going to be putting a clear coat on this and you don't want any grit trapped under that. So to glue your piece, we're just using Mod Podge and a foam brush. And I start by putting down a layer of the glue on the wood piece as a foundation. And I just try to get it as even as I can, a very thin layer. If you get it too thick, whatever you're gluing on there is going to squish around, and we don't want that. So a very thin layer of Mod Podge to start. And then you're going to take your image and put that right wherever you want. The nice thing about Mod Podge is it will let you reposition just a little bit if you need to. It doesn't dry too fast, but it also doesn't take too long. And then once you've got your image in the place where you want it, you will go back over the top of that with another layer of glue. And the way that I start gluing over the top of my image is I kind of just push it down, bounce it around on top to make sure that I get that image really coated in glue. So I'm just tapping lightly on top, and then once I've got it all covered, I'm going to sweep the glue out, starting in the middle and moving towards the edge to even out this layer that I've just put on. So kind of like frosting a cake maybe. It's just trying to get that glue out to an even layer on top of your image. And sometimes your image is going to wrinkle, so I take a little bit of a flat edge and I push it down, try to get all the air bubbles out of there to make it as flat as possible. You might need to tap a little more glue on top. And then be sure to even it out. The Mod Podge is you're gonna be able to see it, but you want a very light coating on top of that. So we've glued that piece on, and I just want to show you that you can also do some embellishment before you seal your coaster. I've used a little magazine image of a butterfly on this one, and I want to put a bit of glitter on here just to make that butterfly pop and sparkle. So you can just take a little bit of glitter glue, and I'm just going to go around the edge of this butterfly to add just a little bit of embellishment. Keep it really simple, and then you let that dry thoroughly. You cannot have anything wet underneath your ceiling. your sealing layer. So whatever glitter or glue you put on, you need to be sure that that gets as dry as it possibly can. And if you're doing any glitter or embellishments, you want to try to keep them flat. So you may need to take a little bit of a tissue or something to dab off any excess that might be a raised edge. Okay, now that the Mod Podge is thoroughly dried, we're ready to put on some polyurethane or some other kind of sealing product, just to keep the moisture out of your cut piece of wood. And that way it'll last a lot longer and of course protect your furniture. So we are using a Minwax product of urethane. You can also get spray products to seal these. And you want to follow the directions on whatever the product is. For example, with polyurethane, you really need to get it stirred well. And sometimes you need to stir a few times while you're using it, just to keep the color, if there's any color in there, even. This is a product that doesn't take very much. A little goes a long way. So, and I'm using paper plates to work on with my glue and my polyurethane so that I don't make a big old mess and it's easy cleanup. So another sponge brush just to gently brush that polyurethane coat on top. Again, using just a little bit. You don't want to get too much on there. This is going to take a long time to dry. And so you want to do one side at a time. Let that dry thoroughly, then flip it over. It may even take a couple days to dry thoroughly, depending upon your product. And remember that we are using that live edge. So you're going to want to go over that live edge with whatever sealing product you're using and try to work it into all those crevices, which can be kind of tricky, but your sponge brush is going to help a lot with that. So here's some finished products to take a look at, just what all the different options are for designing your coasters. You can leave them plain and just use them as they are with a little bit of sealing coat on them. Again, here's our craft example of, just instead of using a branch, you can pick up something from the craft store. And if you end up with lots of branch segments like we did, you can even turn them into ornaments just by drilling a hole through them and using a little bit of yarn and maybe some stickers or other embellishments. Just make them what you want, enjoy. These are a great project for gifts. You can send them through the mail very easily. They're light and go into a package super small. So enjoy and have fun.